Hello guys, welcome to Fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was the Elden Lord, the consort of the Lunar Princess Naruto x Ranni Elden Ring. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. The stranger in the lands between pain jolted through Naruto's body as he crashed into hard, unfamiliar ground. Rocks dug into his back, and the smell of decay filled his nostrils. This wasn't where he was supposed to be. Ugh, what the hell happened? Naruto groaned, pushing himself up on his elbows. The last thing he remembered was tracking that weird energy signature with Kakashi and Sakura. They'd found that glowing rift in the forest outside Konoha, and then, nothing. Just a flash of light and now this. Naruto staggered to his feet, brushing dirt off his orange and black jacket. The landscape around him looked like something out of a nightmare, twisted trees with golden leaves, ruins scattered across rolling hills, and in the distance, an enormous glowing tree that seemed to touch the sky itself. Kurama, you there? Naruto asked internally, reaching for the familiar presence of the Ninetales. I'm here, but something's off, the fox's voice rumbled in his mind. Our chakra, it's responding strangely to this place. Naruto felt it too. The energy flowing through him seemed to resonate with something in the air, like his chakra was being pulled toward that massive glowing tree. He tried forming a Rasengan, and the blue sphere sputtered to life in his palm, but it flickered with golden traces he'd never seen before. Weird, he muttered, dissipating the jutsu. Where are we? A shuffling sound caught his attention. Naruto spun around, kunai already in hand, to face a shambling humanoid figure with grayish skin and hollow eyes. It lunged at him with surprising speed. Naruto sidestepped and drove his kunai into the creature's neck. It crumpled instantly. The hell? These aren't like any zombies I've seen before. More emerged from behind rocks and ruins, dozens of them, all moving with that same desperate hunger. Don't waste chakra, Kurama advised. We don't know how it works here yet. Naruto nodded, relying on his taijutsu instead. He moved through the horde with practiced efficiency, each strike precise. A spin kick took down 3 at once. A swift uppercut launched another skyward. Minutes later, he stood amid a field of fallen enemies, barely breathing hard. Too easy, he said, wiping dust from his hands. But I still don't know where. A gigantic creature soared overhead, its wingspan blocking out the sun momentarily. Not a bird, some kind of dragon with glittering scales that caught the light. Okay, definitely not in the land of fire anymore. Naruto headed toward a crumbling church nearby, figuring higher ground would give him a better view. Inside, he found a single figure sitting quietly beside what looked like a checkpoint of some kind, a woman with closed eyes and long, straight hair. You're not from here, she said before Naruto could speak. Her voice was soft but carried clearly. That obvious, huh? Naruto scratched the back of his head. Mind telling me where here is exactly? The woman opened her eyes, revealing a gentle gaze. I am Melina. And you have found yourself in the lands between, though I've never seen anyone arrive quite like you did. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Shinobi of Konoha. He extended his hand, but she merely looked at it with curiosity before continuing. The lands between exist beneath the Erd Tree, she gestured toward the massive glowing tree Naruto had seen earlier. Once a land blessed by grace, now home to the shattering and endless conflict. Naruto listened as Melina explained the basics, demigods warring over fragments of the Elden Ring, the tarnished who returned after exile, the guidance of grace leading to a predestined path. So basically, everyone's fighting over power, there's a bunch of super strong bosses, and the world's gone to hell, Naruto summarized. Sounds like home, minus the talking trees and finger people. Melina's lips curved into a small smile. You have a direct way of speaking. Sorry if that's not how things work around here. Naruto stood, stretching. Look, I need to find my way back to my friends. Any ideas? The barriers between worlds are not easily crossed, Melina said. Perhaps your path home lies through understanding why you're here. The Erd Tree has never called someone like you before. Naruto approached one of the church's broken windows and looked out at the golden tree dominating the horizon. Called me? I didn't get an invitation. Yet your energy, it's unlike anything I've seen. Melina appeared beside him, though Naruto hadn't seen her move. It resonates with the Erd Tree, but doesn't submit to it. Most interesting. She's right, Kurama interrupted. I can feel it pulling at us, trying to make our chakra conform to whatever rules this world has. But we're resistant somehow. Naruto closed his eyes, sensing the connection Kurama described. Their combined chakra naturally pushed back against the golden energy trying to envelop it. How'd you know about my energy? Naruto asked, eyes snapping open. I serve as a guide to the tarnished. Sensing such things is part of my purpose. Melina turned away. There's a castle to the north, Storm Vale. The path forward often leads through it, but a demigod named Godric rules there. He grafts the limbs of his victims onto himself to gain their strength. Sounds like a nice guy, Naruto said dryly. Why are you telling me this? Because I see tarnished prisoners being dragged there daily, and they don't return. And because whatever brought you here might be found beyond his domain. Melina paused. Also because I sense you might actually stand a chance against him. I've taken down my share of power-hungry freaks, Naruto grinned. This Godric doesn't sound much different. Don't underestimate the demigods, Melina warned. They possess fragments of the Elden Ring itself, divine power beyond mortal understanding. Yeah, well, Naruto formed a Rasengan, this one more stable than before but still threaded with strange golden light. I've got a few tricks myself. Melina watched the swirling energy with fascination. What manner of sorcery is that? Not sorcery. Ninjutsu. Naruto let the Rasengan fade. So how do I get to this castle? Follow the path of grace, though I'm not sure it will appear for you as it does for the tarnished. Melina pointed north. Stay on the main road, but be wary of the tree sentinel who patrols it. Naruto stepped outside the church, squinting at the broken path ahead. Thanks for the info. I'm gonna find this Godric guy, kick his ass if I need to, and figure out how to get home. You speak with such certainty, Melina said, a hint of amusement in her voice. That's just how I roll. Naruto gave her a thumbs up. I never go back on my word, that's my ninja way. As he started down the path, Melina called after him. Naruto Uzumaki, if you truly wish to understand why you're here, seek the guidance of the two fingers. Or perhaps. She hesitated. Perhaps seek those who oppose them. Naruto waved without looking back. I'll keep that in mind. The world was beautiful and horrifying in equal measure. Naruto passed fields of golden flowers that shimmered like actual metal, only to round a bend and find corpses hanging from trees. He passed through ruins where bizarre creatures skittered away from his approach, and forests where butterflies with knife-like wings tried to slice his face. Man, this place makes the forest of death look like a playground, he muttered, ducking under a swooping bat-like creature. Focus, Kurama growled. Something big is coming. Naruto felt it before he saw it, heavy hoofbeats shaking the ground. He dove behind a collapsed wall just as an enormous mounted knight in golden armor thundered past. The tree sentinel Melina had warned about. That's a lot of armor, Naruto whispered, watching the sentinel patrol the road. Probably slow, though. The knight suddenly whipped around, as if sensing Naruto's presence. Its mount, not quite a horse, Naruto realized, but something more reptilian, sniffed the air. Screw it. Naruto stepped out onto the road. Hey! Gold guy. I'm trying to get to Stormvale Castle. Mind pointing me in the right direction? The tree sentinel answered by lowering its massive halberd and charging. Guess we're doing this the hard way. Naruto cracked his knuckles. The sentinel was fast despite its bulk. Naruto barely dodged the first swing, feeling the wind off the halberd as it passed inches from his face. He countered with a punch to the knight's leg that should have shattered bone. Instead, it barely dented the armor. What the hell? Naruto leapt back as the halberd came down again, cratering the ground where he'd stood. That's some tough metal. Use our chakra, Kurama suggested. Let's see what happens when we really push it. Naruto nodded, drawing on their combined power. The familiar golden glow enveloped him, but it immediately began to flicker and shift, threads of a different gold, the Erdtree's energy, trying to weave into it. Whoa! Naruto gasped as power surged through him, different from anything he'd felt before. His sensory abilities expanded exponentially, and suddenly he could perceive energy flows throughout the land, all connected to that massive tree. The tree sentinel charged again. This time, Naruto didn't dodge. He caught the halberd with one hand, the impact sending cracks through the ground beneath his feet. My turn. Naruto punched, and the sentinel flew backward, armor denting inward. The knight crashed into a stone wall 50 feet away, its mount screeching in alarm. That felt awesome. Naruto examined his hand, now glowing with a mixture of his orange chakra and the golden energy of this world. Kurama, are you feeling this? It's like our chakra is being amplified by whatever power system exists here, the fox replied, sounding both intrigued and cautious. But it's unstable. Don't rely on it too much yet. The tree sentinel was back on its feet, somehow. It raised its halberd, which began to glow with golden light. Oh, you can do the glowy thing too, huh? The sentinel slammed its weapon into the ground, sending a wave of golden energy straight at Naruto. He leapt high, forming a Rasengan midair. When he came down, he drove the spiraling sphere into the knight's helmet. The armor crumpled, and the sentinel toppled backward. This time, it didn't get up. Naruto landed in a crouch, breathing hard. That was a decent warm-up. He continued north, following the road as it wound through hills and valleys. Occasionally he spotted other travelers, most keeping their distance, though a few waved or called out warnings about dangers ahead. The closer he got to the castle, the more signs of conflict he saw, abandoned wagons, fresh graves, military encampments. By nightfall, Stormvale Castle loomed before him, perched atop sheer cliffs with a massive bridge leading to its main gate. Guards patrolled the walls, and strange winged creatures circled the highest towers. There it is, Naruto murmured. Now to figure out how to get in. He found a small encampment near the bridge where a group of armed people rested around fires. Unlike the shambling corpses he'd encountered earlier, these individuals seemed fully alive and alert, though many bore strange scars or otherworldly features. You there, one called out as Naruto approached. You're not one of Godric's men. Another tarnished seeking glory? Not exactly. Naruto joined them by the fire. I'm looking for a way home, and I heard this castle might have some answers. The group exchanged glances. You're either brave or stupid, said a woman with a massive sword strapped to her back. Godric doesn't give answers, he gives extra arms whether you want them or not. Yeah, I heard about his hobby. Naruto accepted a piece of dried meat they offered. What's his deal anyway? Why graft other people's limbs? Power, said an older man, his face hidden beneath a hood. The demigods all seek it in their own twisted ways. Godric was the weakest of them, descended from Godfrey but lacking his strength. So he takes it from others. Classic overcompensation, Naruto said through a mouthful of meat. You guys planning to fight him? Silence fell around the fire. We were, the woman finally said. 20 of us came to challenge him. Now there's 5. And we're considering a tactical retreat, added another. Naruto studied their faces, exhausted, wounded, but still determined. They reminded him of shinobi who'd been through too many battles without rest. How many people has this Godric guy got locked up in there? He asked. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. The hooded man sighed. He uses them for his grafting. The screams echo across the valley at night. Naruto stood, brushing dust from his pants. Then I guess I'd better get them out. Did you not hear us? The woman exclaimed. 15 of our comrades, seasoned tarnished who faced countless horrors, died trying to breach those walls. No offense, but I'm built different. Naruto grinned, forming a small Rasengan to prove his point. The swirling chakra illuminated their astonished faces. What manner of sorcery? The hooded man whispered. That's the second time I've heard that today. Naruto let the jutsu fade. It's not sorcery, it's chakra. And I've got plenty to spare. You'll need more than fancy light tricks to defeat Godric, the woman warned, but Naruto could see respect dawning in her eyes. I've got those too. He created a shadow clone beside him, earning gasps from the group. So what's the best way in? Front door or is there a service entrance? Dawn broke over Stormvale Castle as Naruto scaled its outer wall. Based on the tarnished group's information, he'd opted for a less defended section on the eastern side, where storm damage had created a partial collapse. Shadow clone jutsu, he whispered, forming 5 clones who immediately spread out along the battlements, quietly dispatching guards. Remember what we learned about our chakra here, Kurama cautioned. It's more powerful but less predictable. Yeah, gotta be careful not to blow up the whole castle before I find those prisoners, Naruto muttered, dropping silently into a courtyard. Inside, the castle was a maze of corridors, halls, and chambers. Some areas were opulent, with tapestries and golden decorations, while others were clearly repurposed for darker purposes, torture chambers and workshops filled with severed limbs in various stages of preservation. This is seriously messed up, Naruto said, examining a workbench where human arms were being fitted with mechanical joints. Who does this kind of stuff? A scream echoed from deeper in the castle, answering his question. Naruto followed the sound, moving swiftly through shadow-filled hallways. The memories from his dispatched clones flowed back to him, giving him a mental map of the castle's layout. He found the dungeons 3 levels down, a sprawling complex of cells filled with prisoners in various states of despair. Many were missing limbs, others seemed to be kept intact, waiting their turn. Hey, Naruto whispered to the nearest cell, where a man sat staring blankly at the wall. I'm getting everyone out of here. The man didn't respond at first, then slowly turned. Another of Godric's tricks? Giving us hope before he takes our arms and legs? No trick. Naruto focused chakra into his hand and sliced through the cell door lock with a concentrated Rasengan. See? The prisoner stood shakily. Who are you? Name's Naruto. Now help me free the others while I find the keys. As the first prisoner moved to spread the word, Naruto created a dozen shadow clones. Find the keys, free everyone, and cause a distraction on the west side, he instructed them. I'll take care of Godric. With each freed prisoner, information flowed. Godric was in his throne room, preparing for a grafting ceremony. Several captives were already there, awaiting their fate. Naruto moved faster, no longer concerned with stealth. Guards fell before they could raise alarms. Soon, over 100 prisoners were making their way toward the eastern wall breach, guided by his clones. The throne room doors were massive, carved with images of arms and legs intertwined in grotesque patterns. Naruto didn't bother trying to open them. A Rasengan blasted them off their hinges, sending wooden splinters flying across the marble floor inside. Godric, he shouted, stepping through the dust. Party's over. The throne room was vast, with a ceiling that stretched up several stories. Suspended from chains were cages containing terrified prisoners. Surgical tables lined one wall, tools laid out meticulously beside each one. And on a throne made of fused human bodies sat Godric the Grafted. He was a nightmare come to life, his original body almost lost beneath dozens of grafted limbs of all sizes. Arms jutted from his torso, legs were fused to his back, and even small fingers sprouted from his neck. He wore a crown that seemed to sink into his skull, and his eyes gleamed with madness. "What's this?" Godric's voice boomed. "A tarnished with unusual coloring? Or something else entirely?" He leaned forward, extra arms bracing against the floor. "No matter. Your limbs will serve me well. Sorry, I'm kind of attached to them." Naruto cracked his knuckles. "And I'm taking all these people with me." Godric laughed, the sound echoing through the chamber. "Foolish creature. Kneel before me, the golden lord of all that is golden." "Yeah, that's not happening." Naruto created 5 shadow clones who immediately raced toward the cages, freeing the suspended prisoners. Godric roared in anger, lurching to his feet. He was taller than Naruto had initially realized, nearly 15 feet of twisted flesh and bone. "You dare defy a god? You're no god. Just another power-hungry tyrant who can't handle being weak." Naruto settled into a fighting stance. "And I've beaten plenty of those." Godric charged with surprising speed, multiple arms reaching for Naruto simultaneously. The shinobi dodged with a backflip, noting how Godric's movements were unpredictable, each limb seemed to operate semi-independently. "You're quick," Godric growled. "But I am mighty." He slammed several fists into the ground, sending shockwaves across the floor. Naruto leapt over them, forming a Rasengan mid-air and driving it into Godric's chest. The demigod staggered but didn't fall, grabbing Naruto with 3 arms and hurling him across the room. Naruto crashed through a pillar, stone crumbling around him. "Okay, he's stronger than he looks. Let's try something bigger," Kurama suggested. Naruto nodded, forming the hand signs for a more powerful jutsu. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. 50 clones appeared, swarming Godric from all angles. The demigod howled and spun, swatting them away, but for each he dispelled, another landed a solid hit. Godric's grafted parts began to bleed and tear. "Enough!" Godric bellowed. Golden light erupted from his body, incinerating the remaining clones and scorching the throne room. "I am the lord of all that is golden. Tremble before my newfound might." The light condensed around one of his arms, transforming it into something new, a massive dragon's head, grafted to his wrist where a hand should be. "Oh come on," Naruto groaned. "A dragon arm? That's just excessive." Godric laughed maniacally. "Bear witness." The dragon head opened its jaws and unleashed a torrent of flame that engulfed half the chamber. Naruto barely dodged, feeling the heat singe his jacket. "That's new. Time to show him what real power looks like," Kurama growled. Naruto nodded, drawing on their combined chakra once more. The golden-orange energy flowed through him, and he felt the Erd Tree's power trying to mix with it again, but this time, he controlled the integration better, allowing just enough to amplify his own strength without destabilizing it. "Alright, multiple arms guy," Naruto said, his voice echoing with Kurama's power. "Let's finish this." Godric fired another blast from his dragon arm. Naruto charged straight through it, the chakra cloak protecting him from the flames. He slammed into Godric with enough force to crack the back wall of the throne room. Before the demigod could recover, Naruto formed his most powerful technique. Rasen Shuriken. The spiraling disk of chakra, now streaked with the Erd Tree's golden energy, expanded to twice its normal size. Naruto hurled it directly at Godric, who raised all his arms in defense. The explosion rocked the entire castle. When the light faded, Godric lay embedded in the wall, most of his grafted limbs severed or mangled beyond use. His dragon arm sputtered weakly, smoke rising from its nostrils. "Impossible," Godric wheezed. "I am a god, a descendant of the golden lineage." "Yeah, well." Naruto stood over him, chakra cloak still flickering around his body. "I've got a fox god inside me, and he thinks you're overcompensating." I never said that, Kurama grumbled. Same difference, Naruto muttered before addressing Godric again. I'm taking all your prisoners. You're done grafting people. You cannot, the Erd Tree, my birthright. Godric struggled to move but could barely lift what remained of his original arms. Your birthright is a beating, believe it. Naruto turned away. Consider this your lucky day, I'm not even going to kill you. Just live with your actual body for once. As Naruto walked toward the exit, Godric called after him. Who, what are you? Naruto paused at the doorway. Naruto Uzumaki. Remember it. Outside, chaos had erupted across Stormvale Castle. The freed prisoners, led by Naruto's clones, had armed themselves and were fighting their way out. Many of Godric's soldiers, seeing their lord defeated, had surrendered or fled. The tarnished group from the camp met Naruto at the eastern breach, eyes wide with disbelief. You actually did it, the woman with the great sword said. Godric is beaten. Told you I would. Naruto grinned, though exhaustion was setting in. Everyone getting out okay? Most are already headed down to the encampment. The hooded man gestured to the stream of people descending the path. They're calling you the Golden Shinobi. Golden Shinobi? Naruto laughed. I've been called worse. A commotion near the castle gate drew their attention. A group of knights unlike any Naruto had seen so far, their armor a deep blue with silver filigree, were making their way through the crowd, heading straight for Naruto. Carrion Knights, the woman whispered. From the academy in Liurnia. What are they doing here? The knights approached and formed a semicircle before Naruto. Their leader removed her helmet, revealing a stern face framed by short silver hair. Naruto Uzumaki, she said, her voice carrying authority. Your actions here have drawn attention from beyond Stormvale. Good attention or bad attention? Naruto asked, tensing slightly. That depends on your perspective. The knight captain studied him with calculating eyes. My mistress wishes to speak with you. And who's your mistress? Lady Ranni of the Carrion royal family. The captain replaced her helmet. She awaits you at the Three Sisters, beyond Kuria Manor. The journey is perilous, but for one who defeated Godric, perhaps not impossibly so. Naruto exchanged glances with the tarnished group. The hooded man gave a subtle nod. Lady Ranni is rumored to oppose the greater will, he whispered. If anyone might know how to send you home. Naruto turned back to the knight captain. Tell your mistress I'll consider her invitation. But first, I need to make sure these people are safe. The captain nodded curtly. Of course. The fallen deserve their heroes, after all. She produced a small object, a delicate silver bell. When you are ready, use this at the Ranni's rise. It will grant you safe passage through our territories. Naruto accepted the bell, tucking it into his pocket. Thanks. I'll be there. As the knights departed, the woman with the great sword nudged Naruto. Lady Ranni, huh? They say she's as beautiful as she is mysterious, and twice as dangerous. Sounds interesting. Naruto watched the blue-armored knights vanish into the distance. But first things first. Let's get everyone to safety and find some ramen. I'm starving. Ramen? The hooded man asked. Oh man, you guys don't have ramen here. Naruto looked horrified. This world is more messed up than I thought. From a tower far to the north, a figure watched through magical means. Ranni the witch observed with interest as Naruto helped the freed prisoners establish a camp in the ruins below Stormvale. His golden energy, so different from the Erd Tree's grace yet somehow resonating with it, fascinated her. What do you think, Iji? She asked the massive figure standing beside her. The stone-headed giant considered for a moment. He is powerful, certainly. But is he trustworthy? That remains to be seen. He fights for others without hesitation. Ranni's 4 arms gestured delicately as she maintained the viewing spell. And his power, it comes from within, yet interacts with the Erd tree's influence without submitting to it. Precisely why the 2 fingers will view him as a threat, another voice added. Blade, the half-wolf warrior, stepped from the shadows. The greater will does not tolerate power it cannot control. Then we shall have to reach him before they do. Ranni's spectral face showed little emotion, but her voice carried a hint of urgency. This, shinobi, may be exactly what we need. She waved her hand, dissolving the image of Naruto. After all, what better consort for one who would defy the gods, than one who has already proven gods can fall? Chapter 2, The Witch's Proposal. The camp below Stormvale Castle was a hive of activity. The freed prisoners, now calling themselves the Stormvale Survivors, had set up a makeshift settlement in the ruins. Naruto sat on a rock, watching them work together to build shelters and organize supplies. It was a familiar sight, people pulling together after a disaster, just like in Konoha after a big mission or a natural disaster. Man, this is crazy, he muttered to himself, taking a bite of a piece of dried meat. One minute I'm in Konoha, the next I'm fighting a guy with a dragon arm. And now I'm a hero to a bunch of strangers. You've always been a hero, Naruto, Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. You just didn't realize it. Yeah, well, I didn't ask for this hero stuff here. Naruto sighed. I just want to find Kakashi and Sakura. And figure out how to get home. A figure approached, the woman. With the great sword, now introducing herself as Lyra. The knights left you a message, she said, handing him a small, folded piece of parchment. Naruto unfolded it. The writing was elegant, but the message was blunt. The Carrion Academy requests your presence at the Three Sisters. The journey is perilous. Be wary of the 2 fingers. The 2 fingers? Naruto asked. What's that about? Lyra shrugged. They're advisors. To the demigods. But they're not to be trusted. Rumor has it they're the ones who started the shattering. Great. Naruto crumpled the parchment. So I'm walking into a trap. Maybe, Lyra admitted. But Lady Ranni is the only one who might know how to send you home. And she's the only one powerful enough to stand against the 2 fingers. Naruto stood up, brushing off his pants. Then it's settled. I'm going. You're just going to leave us? Another voice asked. It was the hooded man, now revealing himself to be an old man named Joran. We need a leader, Naruto. You've given us hope. Naruto looked at the camp, at the people who were looking to him for guidance. He felt a familiar weight settle on his shoulders. It was the same feeling he'd had when he first became Hokage, responsibility. I'm not leaving you guys in the lurch, he said, raising his voice so everyone could hear. I'm heading north, but I'll be back. And in the meantime, you're in charge, Joran. Keep everyone safe, organize the camp, and if anyone tries to mess with you, you know what to do. Joran nodded, a determined look on his face. We'll hold the line, Naruto. You go find your way home. Naruto gave a thumbs up. That's the spirit. And hey, if you run out of food, I'll send some ramen your way. I'll figure it out. With that, he set off north, toward the Three Sisters. The journey was long and treacherous. The road was infested with monsters, giant wolves, skeletal warriors, and bizarre creatures that Naruto had never seen before. He dispatched them with practiced ease, his chakra now a familiar and powerful tool in this strange world. As he approached the edge of the Carrion royal territory, a group of knights in blue armor blocked his path. They were the same Carrion knights he'd seen at Stormvale. State your business, Tarnished, one of them said, his voice cold. I'm here to see Lady Ranni, Naruto replied, holding up the silver bell. I have an invitation. The knight captain, a woman with a scar across her eye, stepped forward. The invitation is a courtesy, not a pass. We've been ordered to detain you. Detain me? Why? Your power is an anomaly, the captain said. The two fingers have deemed you a threat to the established order. You will come with us. Naruto sighed. Look, I don't want any trouble. I just want to talk to Ranni. Then you'll come with us, the captain repeated, drawing her sword. Naruto raised his hands in a placating gesture. All right. No need to get violent. But as the knights closed in, he formed a Rasengan in his palm. But if you insist. The blast of chakra sent the knights flying backward. Naruto didn't wait for them to recover. He created a dozen shadow clones and charged, overwhelming the knights with speed and numbers. They were skilled fighters, but they were no match for a shinobi of Naruto's caliber. Sorry about this. Naruto called out as he dashed past them, heading deeper into the forest. The knights regrouped and gave chase, but Naruto was too fast. He weaved through the trees, using his clones to create diversions and lead them astray. Eventually, he lost them in a dense thicket. Man, these guys are persistent, Naruto muttered, catching his breath. And who are these two fingers anyway? They sound like a bunch of busybodies. They're the hands of the greater will, Kurama explained. They manipulate the demigods, ensuring the Erdtree's will is carried out. They see you as a loose end. Great. So I'm a loose end. Naruto continued north, his senses on high alert. He soon found himself in a clearing where a massive wolf-like creature was fighting a group of knights. The creature was fast and powerful, its claws tearing through armor. Naruto recognized it immediately, Blade, the half-wolf warrior he'd seen in Ranni's tower. Blade was outnumbered, and the knights were getting the better of him. Naruto didn't hesitate. He leapt into the fray, creating a Rasengan and slamming it into the back of one of the knights. The knight flew forward, crashing into two others. Naruto then used a shadow clone to distract the remaining knights while he helped Blade to his feet. Thanks, Blade growled, his yellow eyes fixed on Naruto. But I don't need your help. Sure you do, Naruto said, forming another Rasengan. You're outnumbered. Blade snarled and charged at Naruto, his claws extended. Naruto dodged and countered with a punch, but Blade was stronger than he looked. The two traded blows, Naruto using his clones to keep up with the wolf's speed. Blade was impressed by Naruto's skills, but he was also confused. What is your purpose here, shinobi? Why do you fight for Ranni? I don't fight for Ranni, Naruto said, dodging another swipe. I'm looking for a way home. And she's my best lead. Blade laughed, a harsh sound. You think she can help you? She's a witch, a heretic. She seeks to destroy the Erdtree, to bring about an age of darkness. An age of stars, Naruto corrected. And I don't care about your gods. I just want to go home. Blade lunged again, but Naruto was ready. He caught Blade's arm and flipped him over his shoulder, slamming him into the ground. Before Blade could get up, Naruto stood over him, his Rasengan glowing. Look, I don't want to fight you, Naruto said. But I will if I have to. Blade looked up at Naruto, his eyes narrowed. You are strong. But you are a fool. The greater will is all-powerful. You cannot defy it. I've defied gods before, Naruto said, recalling his battles with Pain and Madara. And I'll do it again if I have to. Blade stood up, shaking off the impact. Then we are enemies. Only if you make us so, Naruto replied. I'm heading to the Three Sisters. If you want to stop me, you know where to find me. With that, Naruto turned and walked away, leaving Blade standing in the clearing. As he continued his journey, Naruto came across a small village under attack by a horde of monstrous creatures. The villagers were trapped in their homes, fighting for their lives. Naruto hesitated for a moment. He was on a mission, and helping these people would delay him. But he couldn't just walk away. Shadow Clone Jutsu, he shouted, creating a dozen clones who immediately charged into the fray, helping the villagers fight off the monsters. Naruto himself used a Rasengan to clear a path through the horde, making his way to the village center. The villagers cheered as he fought, and when the last monster fell, they rushed out to thank him. "Thank you, Shinobi," an old man said, bowing to him. "You've saved our village." Naruto smiled. "No problem. Just doing what I can." As he prepared to leave, the old man handed him a small, glowing stone. "Take this. It's a rune of the Carrion royal family. It will grant you safe passage through our lands." Naruto accepted the stone, touched by the villagers' gratitude. "Thanks. I'll make sure to use it wisely." With the rune in his pocket and the villagers' thanks in his heart, Naruto continued north, finally reaching the Three Sisters. The Three Sisters were three massive, ancient trees that stood in a circle, their branches intertwining to form a natural archway. Ranni's tower was hidden within the grove, accessible only by a hidden path. Naruto found the path and made his way to the tower. He knocked on the door, and a voice called out, "Enter." Naruto pushed the door open and stepped inside. The tower was dimly lit, with strange artifacts and scrolls scattered everywhere. Ranni was sitting at a desk, her 4 arms moving with practiced ease as she wrote on a scroll. She looked up at him, her spectral face impassive. "You've come, Naruto Uzumaki." "Yeah, I'm here," Naruto said, stepping further into the room. "You wanted to see me?" Ranni stood up, her 4 arms moving gracefully. "I did. I've been watching you. Your fight with Godric, your journey here, you are more than just a tarnished." "I'm a shinobi," Naruto said. "From another world." Ranni's eyes widened slightly. "Another world? That explains your power. It resonates with the Erd Tree, yet it is not of it." "Yeah, Kurama and I have been trying to figure that out," Naruto said, sitting down in a chair opposite her. "So, what's the deal? Who are you, really? And what do you want with me?" Ranni smiled, a rare sight. "I am Ranni, the Witch of the Night. And I want to offer you a proposition." "A proposition?" Naruto asked, leaning forward. "What kind of proposition?" "I want you to be my consort," Ranni said, her voice clear and confident. "To stand by my side as I shatter the Elden Ring and bring about the Age of Stars." Naruto stared at her, speechless. "You're, what?" "My consort," Ranni repeated. "My partner. My equal. The one who will help me achieve my goals and share in the power that comes with them." Naruto shook his head. "I don't understand. Why me? And what's the Age of Stars?" "The Age of Stars is a world free from the greater will's control," Ranni explained. "A world where people are not bound by destiny, where they can choose their own path. And you, Naruto Uzumaki, are the key to achieving it. Your power is unique, your spirit unyielding. You are the only one who can help me." Naruto was silent for a moment, processing what she had said. "So, you want me to help you destroy the Erd Tree and create a new world order? And in return, I get, what? Power? A place in this new world?" Ranni nodded. "And the chance to be with someone who understands you. Someone who, like you, fights against a predestined fate." Naruto thought about it. He thought about his journey, about his friends, about his dream of becoming Hokage. He thought about the weight of responsibility he'd felt at the camp, and the loneliness he'd seen in Ranni's eyes. He thought about the villagers he'd saved, and the prisoners he'd freed. He thought about the people who looked up to him, and the people he wanted to protect. "I can't go back to my world," Naruto said, his voice firm. "Not yet, anyway. And I can't just leave this world to the whims of the greater will." Ranni's spectral face showed a hint of hope. "So you agree?" Naruto stood up, looking Ranni in the eye. "I agree to help you, Ranni. But on my terms. I want to understand this world, to learn about the Erd Tree and the greater will. And I want to help you deal with the Two Fingers and the Carrion Knights. Ranni smiled. Of course. You are my consort, after all. Your wishes are my commands. Naruto grinned. Good. Then let's get to work. First, I want to know more about these Two Fingers. And then, I want to pay a visit to the Carrion Academy. Ranni nodded. The Two Fingers are the true enemy. They manipulate the demigods, ensuring the Erdtree's will is carried out. They see you as a threat, and they will stop at nothing to eliminate you. And the Carrion Knights? Naruto asked. They are loyal to the Academy, which is loyal to the Two Fingers, Ranni explained. But they are not our enemies. Yet. Naruto nodded. Alright. Then let's start with the Two Fingers. Where can I find them? Ranni pointed to a map on her desk. They reside in the Round Table Hold, in the capital city of Leyendell. But it will be dangerous. The Two Fingers are protected by powerful allies. Naruto looked at the map, then at Ranni. Then that's where we'll go. Together. Ranni's smile widened. I'm glad you're with me, Naruto. Together, we will shatter the Elden Ring and bring about the Age of Stars. Naruto nodded. Together. As they prepared to leave the tower, Naruto turned to Ranni. By the way, do you know where I can find some ramen around here? I'm starving. Ranni laughed, a sound that echoed through the tower. I'm afraid I don't. But I'm sure we can find something. Naruto grinned. Great. Let's go. Chapter 3, The Age of Stars. Naruto stood at the edge of Ranni's tower balcony, watching the stars shimmer above the lands between. 2 months had passed since he'd agreed to be Ranni's consort. 2 months of fighting, learning, and growing closer to the enigmatic witch with each passing day. Still can't sleep. Ranni's voice came from behind him. Naruto turned to see her gliding across the stone floor, her spectral form casting soft blue light. Just thinking. We're really doing this tomorrow, huh? Taking on the capital, confronting the Two Fingers. Having second thoughts. She joined him at the railing, her 4 arms resting on the cool stone. Nah. Naruto grinned. Just making sure I'm ready. We only get one shot at this. These past months had changed him. He traversed the harshest regions of the lands between, fought creatures that defied imagination, and unraveled the truth behind the greater will's manipulation. The journey had transformed his understanding of chakra too. He'd learned to blend his energy with the ambient power of this world, creating techniques that even surprised Kurama. You've gathered more allies than I thought possible, Ranni said, her voice tinged with rare warmth. The tarnished follow you now. Even some of the demigods listen when you speak. I just showed them a different path. Naruto shrugged. People want freedom, doesn't matter which world they're from. He thought back to their journey across the lands between. After leaving Ranni's tower, they traveled to Liurnia of the Lakes, where they confronted the Academy's leadership. Instead of fighting, Naruto had convinced many scholars to join their cause, showing them how the Greater Will had manipulated knowledge for generations. From there, they journeyed to Caelid, a rotting wasteland where they faced General Radon, the Star Scourge, a massive warrior who'd gone mad after containing the stars themselves. The battle had pushed Naruto to his limits, but with Ranni's magic and his own determination, they'd freed Radon from his madness, releasing the stars from his grip. Their alliance grew with each victory. The Stormveil survivors, now a formidable army led by Joran and Lyra, controlled the southern territories. Blade, initially suspicious of Naruto, had become one of his strongest supporters after Naruto saved him from the Two Fingers' control. Even Melina, the mysterious maiden from the church, had pledged her aid. The pieces are in place, Ranni said, interrupting his thoughts. Tomorrow, we strike at the heart of the Erdtree's power. Naruto nodded. The Golden Order won't go down without a fight. That's why they'll fail, Ranni said, her eyes meeting his. They fight to preserve. We fight to change. She moved closer, one spectral hand brushing against his. Their relationship had evolved gradually, from tentative allies to trusted partners. Ranni rarely showed vulnerability, but with Naruto, her walls had begun to crumble. You never told me, Naruto said, why you chose this path. Why fight the greater will? Ranni was silent for a moment, her gaze distant. I was born into the golden lineage, destined to become an Empyrean, a vessel for the greater will's next god. But I saw the truth behind the Order's facade. Control masquerading as guidance. Predestination disguised as divine right. She raised one of her arms, blue magic swirling around her fingers. So I cast aside my flesh, killed my Empyrean body, and bound my soul to this dull form. It was the only way to escape the path laid before me. You rebelled against your destiny, Naruto said softly. Just like I did. In Konoha, he'd been the demon child, the troublemaker, the boy who would never amount to anything. But he'd forged his own path, just as Ranni had. That's why we understand each other, Ranni said. Why I knew you were the one who could help usher in the Age of Stars. Naruto looked up at the moon, bright and full above them. In my world, I dreamed of becoming Hokage, the leader of my village. I wanted acknowledgement, respect. But being here, fighting for something bigger than myself, it feels right. Ranni's spectral features softened. The Erd Tree has stood for countless ages. Tomorrow, we challenge that legacy. Then we should get some rest. Naruto pushed himself away from the railing. Big day tomorrow. As he turned to go inside, Ranni called his name. Naruto. He paused. Yeah. Thank you. The words were simple, but her voice carried emotions rarely heard from the witch. For believing in this vision. For believing in me. Naruto smiled. That's what partners do, believe it. Dawn broke over the lands between, illuminating an army gathered at the base of Ranni's tower. Tarnished warriors stood alongside academy scholars, beastmen from Caelid beside knights who had abandoned the Golden Order. At the forefront were familiar faces, Joran, Lyra, Blade, and other allies Naruto had gathered during their journey. Naruto and Ranni emerged from the tower to deafening cheers. She wore a flowing robe of midnight blue, her witch's hat perched atop her head. Naruto had traded his tattered shinobi gear for armor crafted by the finest smiths in the lands between, lightweight plates engraved with swirling patterns that complemented his fighting style, colored orange and blue with hints of gold where the Erd Tree's energy had infused the metal. They're ready, Blade growled, his massive sword strapped to his back. The scouts report the capital's defenses are preparing for our arrival. Good, Naruto said. I'd hate to travel all that way for nothing. Melina approached, her closed eyes seeming to focus on Naruto despite its sealed state. The path to the Erd Tree is guarded by the strongest warriors of the Golden Order. They won't yield easily. They don't have to yield, Naruto replied. They just have to lose. He turned to address the gathered forces, his voice carrying across the field. Today, we fight for freedom. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone in the lands between. The Greater Will has controlled your fates for too long. It's time to choose your own path. The army roared its approval, weapons raised high. Remember, Naruto continued, our target is the two fingers and their puppets. Regular soldiers are just doing their jobs, incapacitate, don't kill unless necessary. Ranni stepped forward, her 4 arms raised. Today marks the end of the age of the Erd Tree, and the beginning of something new. The stars have aligned for this moment. Let us not waste their guidance. With a wave of her hands, she opened a massive portal, a swirling vortex of blue energy that would transport them directly to the outskirts of the capital, bypassing weeks of travel and numerous defenses. Neat trick, Naruto grinned. Wish I could have done that back in my world. The benefits of challenging the cosmos, Ranni replied with a rare smile. Now, shall we? Naruto nodded, and together they led their forces through the portal. The capital of Lendl gleamed in the morning sun, its golden spires and massive walls a testament to the greater will's power. The Erd tree loomed behind it, branches stretching across the sky like golden fingers grasping for control. Their army materialized on the plains before the city, causing immediate alarm. Warning bells rang out, and soldiers scrambled to defensive positions. They knew we were coming, Blade growled, sniffing the air. Doesn't matter, Naruto said, forming a familiar hand sign. We've got the numbers and the surprise. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 100 Naruto clones appeared, each carrying the same determination as the original. They charged toward the walls, drawing defensive fire and creating chaos among the guards. Ranni raised her arms, channeling her magic. Now, my love. Naruto nodded, drawing on both his chakra and the power he'd cultivated in this world. Golden-orange energy swirled around him, forming a cloak that resembled both Kurama and the cosmos itself. He leapt high into the air, a Rasengan forming in his palm, but not an ordinary one. This technique combined his chakra with Ranni's cosmic magic, creating a spiraling orb that contained the power of stars. Stellar Rasengan, he shouted, hurling the technique at the main gate. The impact was catastrophic. The massive doors, forged from ancient wood and reinforced with gold, disintegrated. Chunks of wall collapsed, creating a breach large enough for their army to pour through. Forward! Blade howled, leading the charge alongside Joran and Lyra. Naruto landed beside Ranni, who was already weaving another spell. Nice shot, she said, sending a wave of blue energy toward a group of approaching knights. But we're about to have company. Figures emerged from the dust and debris, the capital's elite guardians. Leading them was a knight in golden armor so bright it hurt to look at directly. That's Commander Neil, Melina said, appearing beside them. The Golden Order's champion. I'll handle him, Naruto said. Ranni, you and Melina head for the Erd tree. I'll catch up. Ranni hesitated. Be careful. These warriors have the greater will's direct blessing. So do I, in a way, Naruto grinned, his eyes flashing red. Right, Kurama? As much as I hate to admit it, this world's energy has become part of us, the fox replied. Let's show them what a real blessing of power looks like. Naruto stepped forward as Ranni and Melina departed with a contingent of their forces. Commander Neil raised his golden spear, pointing it directly at Naruto. Tarnished usurper, he called, his voice echoing metallically from his helmet. You who would challenge the natural order. Turn back now, or face the Golden Order's judgment. Yeah, I've heard that before, Naruto replied, settling into a fighting stance. Didn't listen then either. Neil charged, his movements impossibly fast for someone in full armor. His spear thrust forward, trailing golden light that sliced through the air. Naruto sidestepped, feeling the heat of the weapon as it passed inches from his face. He countered with a sweeping kick that Neil jumped over, bringing his spear down in an overhead strike. Blocking with a kunai, Naruto felt the impact reverberate through his arms. This guy was strong, stronger than most opponents he'd faced since arriving in the lands between. You fight well, Neil acknowledged, pressing his advantage. But you lack the blessing of grace. You cannot stand against those chosen by the greater will. I've got something better than grace, Naruto replied, forming a hand sign. I've got friends. 3 shadow clones appeared, attacking Neil from different angles. The commander spun his spear in a circle, dispelling 2 clones instantly, but the third managed to land a solid kick to his helmet. Naruto used the opening to form a Rasengan, driving it toward Neil's chest. The commander crossed his arms to block, and the impact sent him sliding backward, his golden armor cracking but holding. Impressive, Neil said, regaining his stance. But futile. He raised his spear, which began to glow with intense golden light. The energy spread across his armor, repairing the damage Naruto had inflicted. The greater will sustains me, he declared. I cannot fall while its light shines. Then I'll just have to dim that light, Naruto replied, drawing on Kurama's chakra. The familiar orange energy enveloped him, but now it was interwoven with threads of cosmic blue, Ranni's influence, her power becoming part of his own. He felt stronger, faster, more connected to the world around him. This is new, Kurama observed. The witch's power complements our own. Use it. Naruto nodded, forming a new hand sign. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. 50 clones appeared, each glowing with the same orange-blue energy. They surrounded Neil, attacking in perfect coordination. The commander fought valiantly, his spear a blur of golden light, but the clones kept coming. For every one he dispersed, 2 more took its place. Slowly, his perfect defense began to falter. Impossible, Neil gasped as a clone broke through, landing a solid hit that dented his breastplate. Nothing's impossible, Naruto replied, forming a familiar spiraling sphere in his hand, but this one was different, larger, infused with both Kurama's chakra and the cosmic energy he'd absorbed from Ranni. That's something I learned a long time ago. He charged forward, the clones clearing a path to Neil. Cosmic Rasen Shuriken. The technique connected with the commander's chest, expanding into a swirling vortex of orange and blue energy. Neil's golden armor shattered, and he was lifted off his feet, suspended in the epicenter of Naruto's attack. When the energy dissipated, Neil collapsed to his knees, his armor in ruins, his spear broken beside him. How? He wheezed. The greater will's blessing, it should have protected me. Your greater will isn't as all-powerful as you think, Naruto said, standing over him. There are other forces in the universe. Other paths to follow. Neil looked up, his face visible now that his helmet had been destroyed. He was older than Naruto expected, with weathered features and eyes that had seen countless battles. You truly believe you can challenge the order of the world? He asked. I already am, Naruto replied. And I'm not alone. He offered Neil his hand. Join us. Help us build something better than what you've been protecting. Neil stared at the outstretched hand, then slowly shook his head. I cannot abandon my oath. But neither can I stop you. He gestured toward the inner city. Go. Finish what you've started. Perhaps change is needed. Naruto nodded, respecting the commander's choice. He turned and ran toward the Erd Tree, leaving Neil among the ruins of the gate. All around, the battle raged. Tarnished warriors fought alongside academy scholars, their combined forces pushing back the Golden Order's defenders. Blade was a whirlwind of fury, his massive sword cleaving through enemy ranks. Joran and Lyra led a contingent that had captured one of the defensive towers, using it to direct their forces. Naruto created more shadow clones to assist where needed, but his main focus was reaching Ranni. He followed the path of destruction, evidence of her powerful magic, toward the heart of the capital. He found her in the royal gardens, locked in combat with a figure Naruto recognized from descriptions, Morgoth, the Omen King, one of the few demigods still loyal to the greater will. Morgoth was a towering figure, his body marked by the cursed horns and growths of an omen, wielding a staff that shifted between various weapons as he fought. Despite his fearsome appearance, he moved with surprising grace, keeping Ranni on the defensive. Your treachery ends here, which, Morgoth declared, slamming his staff into the ground and sending spikes of golden energy toward Ranni. The Erd Tree will not fall to your cosmic delusions. Ranni deflected the attack with a shield of blue magic, but Naruto could see she was tiring. The fight against the capital's defenders had taken its toll. Hey, Hornhead! Naruto shouted, leaping into the fray. Pick on someone your own size. Morgoth turned, his yellow eyes narrowing at the interruption. Another traitor to the order. You'll fall with your witch. He swung his staff, which transformed into a massive sword mid-swing. Naruto ducked under it, sliding across the grass to Ranni's side. You okay? He asked, not taking his eyes off Morgoth. Better now, she replied, her 4 hands already weaving a new spell. Together. Always. They moved in perfect sync, a partnership forged through months of fighting side by side. Naruto charged forward, creating clones to distract Morgoth while Ranni launched spells from a distance. The Omen King was powerful, but he couldn't match their coordination. Enough games. Morgoth roared, his body beginning to glow with intense golden light. Feel the full might of the Erd Tree's blessing. The energy exploded outward, dispelling Naruto's clones and knocking both him and Ranni backward. Morgoth grew larger, his cursed features becoming more pronounced as the Erd Tree's power flowed through him. This is bad, Naruto muttered, helping Ranni to her feet. He's channeling the Erd Tree directly. Then we must sever that connection, Ranni replied, her voice steady despite the danger. Remember what we discussed about combining our powers? Naruto nodded. Let's do it. They stood back to back, Naruto drawing on Kurama's chakra while Ranni called upon her cosmic magic. The energies swirled around them, orange and blue intertwining in a dance of power that made the very air shimmer. Morgoth charged, his transformed body leaving cracks in the stone path with each step. His weapon, now a massive hammer of golden light, swung down toward them. Now! Ranni shouted. Their combined energy exploded outward, forming a dome that caught Morgoth's hammer and held it suspended. The Omen King pushed harder, pouring more of the Erd Tree's power into his attack. You cannot stand against the greater will, he bellowed. It is absolute. Nothing is absolute, Naruto replied, focusing his chakra. Especially not freedom. With a final surge of power, their energy dome expanded, shattering Morgoth's hammer and sending him staggering backward. Before he could recover, Naruto formed his most powerful technique, a massive Rasengan infused with both his chakra and Ranni's cosmic magic. This is for everyone the greater will has controlled, he shouted. Driving the technique into Morgoth's chest. Cosmic Rasengan Barrage. The impact sent Morgoth flying through several stone columns before he crashed into the wall of the royal palace. When the dust settled, he lay motionless, his transformed body reverting to its normal state. Ranni approached the fallen king, her spectral features showing a rare hint of compassion. You fought well, kinsman. Rest now, knowing the chains that bound you will soon be broken. Morgoth's eyes flickered open, focusing on Ranni. You would replace one master with another, he whispered. The stars are no more merciful than the Erd Tree. The difference, Ranni replied, is choice. The stars guide, but they do not command. Morgoth closed his eyes, a bitter smile crossing his face. Perhaps that is enough. With those words, his body began to dissolve into motes of golden light, returning to the Erd Tree one final time. Naruto joined Ranni, placing a hand on her shoulder. You okay? She nodded. We're close. The entrance to the Erd Tree lies just ahead, and with it, the two fingers. They continued through the royal gardens, following a path that led to a massive doorway carved into the base of the Erd Tree itself. The door stood open, guarded only by the bodies of Golden Order knights, evidence that Melina and their forces had already passed through. Inside, the Erd Tree was hollow, a vast chamber with walls of living wood that pulsed with golden light. Spiraling stairs led upward, toward what appeared to be a throne room suspended in the heart of the tree. As they ascended, Naruto felt the Erd Tree's energy pressing against him, trying to invade his chakra network and bend it to the greater will's design. Kurama growled in resistance, pushing back against the intrusion. Stay focused, the fox warned. This place wants to make you part of it. Naruto nodded, concentrating on the feeling of Ranni beside him, her cosmic energy helping to shield them both from the Erd Tree's influence. They reached the throne room to find chaos. Melina and their forces were engaged in battle with the Erd Tree's final defenders, knights in blindfolded masks who moved with inhuman speed. At the center of the chamber stood what Naruto recognized from descriptions as the two fingers, a massive, disembodied hand standing upright on its index and middle finger, pulsing with golden light. The fingers, Ranni whispered, her voice filled with hatred. The greater will's direct emissaries. The two fingers sensed their presence, turning slowly to face them. Though it had no eyes, no face, Naruto felt its attention focus on him with crushing intensity. A voice filled the chamber, not spoken aloud but projected directly into their minds. Intruders. Defilers. Heretics. That's us, Naruto replied with a grin. The ones who are gonna end your control over this world. The two fingers gestured, and the remaining knights turned as one, abandoning their current fights to charge toward Naruto and Ranni. I'll handle them, Melina called, intercepting the knights with surprising skill. The fingers are yours to deal with. Naruto and Ranni approached the massive appendage, which towered over them by at least 15 feet. Up close, Naruto could see it wasn't made of flesh but something else, a substance that resembled both stone and living tissue, golden energy flowing through it like blood. Child of another world, the voice projected, focusing on Naruto. You do not belong here. Your power disrupts the pattern. Yeah, I get that a lot, Naruto replied, chakra already swirling around him. But I'm not going anywhere. And you, Ranni, wayward Empyrean. You would destroy what gave you life. I would free what you enslaved, Ranni countered, her four arms weaving complex patterns of blue energy. The time of the greater will is ending. The two fingers vibrated, sending pulses of golden energy through the floor. The entire throne room shook, pieces of the ceiling breaking loose and crashing down around them. Then you will be removed. The air split open behind the two fingers, revealing a tear in reality itself. Through this rift emerged a creature unlike anything Naruto had seen, a mass of writhing golden tentacles surrounding a core of blinding light, vaguely resembling a human form but distorted beyond recognition. What the hell is that? Naruto gasped, shielding his eyes from the intense glow. An avatar of the greater will itself, Ranni replied, her voice tight with tension. It has manifested a fragment of its power directly. The avatar floated forward, its tentacles reaching toward them. Where they touched the floor, the wood twisted and transformed, becoming extensions of the creature itself. Your rebellion ends now, the voice declared, now coming from both the two fingers and the avatar. The order will be preserved. Naruto looked at Ranni, who nodded in silent agreement. They had prepared for this moment, trained for it, but facing the direct power of this world's equivalent of a god was still terrifying. Ready? He asked. With you? Always. They moved together, Naruto creating dozens of shadow clones while Ranni launched a barrage of cosmic spells. The avatar swatted away the clones with contemptuous ease, its tentacles slicing through them like they were made of paper. Ranni's spells fared better, leaving scorch marks on the creature's glowing body, but it showed no signs of slowing. We need to hit it harder, Naruto called, dodging a tentacle that crashed into the floor where he'd been standing. Use the power we've cultivated, Kurama suggested. The blend of our chakra with this world's energy. Naruto nodded, focusing on the unique energy he developed during his time in the lands between, chakra infused with both the Erdtree's power and Ranni's cosmic magic. It flowed through him like a river, responding to his will. Nearby, Ranni was weaving her most powerful spell, a recreation of the dark moon itself, a technique that could momentarily suppress even the Erdtree's influence. Naruto, she called. When my moon manifests, strike with everything you have. He understood immediately. Got it. Just say when. The avatar sensed their plan, its tentacles converging on Ranni to disrupt her spell. Naruto intercepted them, creating a protective barrier of clones that sacrificed themselves to buy her time. The two fingers began to shake violently, channeling more of the greater will's power into its avatar. The creature grew larger, its light becoming so intense that the throne room's walls began to blacken and burn. Your defiance is meaningless, the voice boomed. The pattern has existed for millennia. It cannot be broken by mere mortals. We're not just mortals, Naruto replied, standing firm despite the overwhelming pressure. We're something you never planned for. A shinobi and a witch, working together. Ranni's spell reached completion, a massive dark moon materializing above the avatar. Its appearance caused the creature's light to dim, its tentacles moving sluggishly as the cosmic power suppressed the greater will's influence. Now! Ranni shouted. Naruto charged forward, Kurama's chakra flowing freely, enhanced by the energy he'd absorbed from this world. In his hand formed not just a Rasengan, but something new, a technique born from his experiences in the lands between, his bond with Ranni, and his own indomitable will. Cosmic-tailed beast Rasen Shuriken, he roared, the technique expanding to engulf his entire arm, a spiraling vortex of orange, blue, and golden energy that howled like a living thing. He leapt into the air, directly toward the avatar's core. The creature tried to defend itself, tentacles rising to intercept him, but they moved too slowly under the influence of Ranni's dark moon. The technique connected with the avatar's heart, and for a moment, time seemed to stop. Then, with a sound like 1,000 glass windows shattering at once, the avatar's form began to crack, golden light spilling from the fissures. This cannot be. The voice faltered as cracks spread across the two fingers as well. It already is, Ranni replied, floating forward to join Naruto. The age of the Erd Tree is over. The age of stars begins now. Together, they channeled their combined power into the failing avatar, pushing it back through the rift it had emerged from. The two fingers crumbled, pieces falling away like dried clay, the golden light within fading. With a final, deafening crack, the rift closed, and the remains of the two fingers collapsed into dust. Silence fell over the throne room. The blindfolded knights had fallen with their master, leaving only Naruto, Ranni, Melina, and the surviving members of their force. "It's done," Melina whispered, her voice echoing in the sudden quiet. The greater will's direct control over the lands between is broken. Naruto turned to Ranni, who was staring at the pile of dust that had been the two fingers. "What now?" he asked. "Now," she replied, raising her hands toward the ceiling, "we fulfill the promise of the Age of Stars." Blue energy flowed from her fingers, spreading throughout the Erd Tree. Where it touched, the golden light faded, replaced by a deep, cosmic blue that shimmered with distant stars. The transformation spread outward, racing along the Erd Tree's branches and into the sky beyond. Naruto watched in awe as the heavens themselves began to change. The sky darkened to deep blue, and stars appeared, not just the familiar constellations, but new patterns, brighter and closer than any stars he'd seen before. "What's happening?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "The Age of Stars," Ranni replied, her spectral features illuminated by the cosmic light. "A 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. The curse of life and souls may continue, but now there will be distance between them. People will live and die on their own terms, following their own paths." The transformation complete, Ranni turned to face Naruto. Her form was changing, becoming more solid, more real, no longer merely a spirit inhabiting a doll, but something new. "And now," she said, her voice gentler than he'd ever heard it, "the final step." She held out her hand. "Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi of another world, will you be my consort? Will you journey with me through the cosmos, guiding this world from afar?" Naruto looked at her outstretched hand, then at the transformed Erd Tree, now a cosmic beacon connecting the lands between to the stars above. He thought of Konoha, of his friends, of his dream to become Hokage. For a brief moment, he felt a pang of longing for his home world. But then he looked at Ranni again, at the woman who had shown him a different kind of purpose, a different kind of leadership. In helping her free this world, he'd found something he hadn't known he was missing, a connection that transcended worlds. "Yes," he said, taking her hand. "I will." As their hands touched, energy flowed between them, a final melding of shinobi chakra and cosmic magic. Naruto felt himself changing, becoming something more than human but less than divine. A perfect consort for the ruler of the Age of Stars. "Then let us begin our journey," Ranni said, drawing him close. Together. The moon hung low over the lands between, larger and more radiant than it had been under the Erd tree's reign. Its light bathed the landscape in silver, revealing a world in transformation. In the ruins of Stormvale Castle, now a thriving settlement led by Joran and Lyra, children played beneath stars that seemed close enough to touch. Schools taught not the doctrine of the Golden Order, but the principles of the cosmos, that each person's path was their own to choose. Blade, freed from the Two Fingers' control, roamed the forests as a guardian, ensuring the transition to the new age remained peaceful. Melina had found her purpose as an intermediary between the people and their distant cosmic rulers, guiding without controlling. And high above, in a realm between worlds, Naruto and Ranni watched over their domain. Their palace existed halfway between reality and the cosmos, a place where the rules of both the lands between and the shinobi world blended and transformed. Naruto stood on a balcony overlooking an endless expanse of stars, his form now permanently infused with cosmic energy, his orange chakra cloak now interwoven with the blue of Ranni's power, creating a beautiful aurora that rippled around him. "Still thinking about your home world?" Ranni asked, joining him at the railing. Her form had solidified into something more permanent, still ethereally beautiful, but no longer bound to a dull body. Her 4 arms moved with graceful precision as she conjured a small viewing portal. Through it, Naruto could see glimpses of Konoha, Kakashi in the Hokage office, Sakura training medical ninja, his friends continuing their lives. They had searched for him at first, but eventually had accepted his disappearance, honoring his memory rather than dwelling in grief. "Sometimes," he admitted. "But not with regret. They're doing fine without me. We could visit, Ranni suggested. Our power is sufficient to open a path, at least briefly." Naruto considered this, then shook his head. "Not yet. Maybe someday. For now, we have our own world to guide." He gestured to another viewing portal, this one showing the lands between flourishing under the Age of Stars. People were rebuilding, creating new societies based on cooperation rather than the rigid hierarchy of the Golden Order. "They're doing well," Ranni observed. "The transition has been smoother than I dared hope." "People adapt," Naruto replied. "Especially when you give them freedom to choose their own way." He turned to face her, taking her primary right hand in his. Being consort to the ruler of a cosmic age isn't that different from being Hokage. It's still about protecting people, helping them grow, showing them a better path. Is that why you seem so natural at it?" Ranni asked, a smile playing across her ethereal features. "Because you were always meant to lead?" "Nah," Naruto grinned. "It's because I never give up. That's my ninja way." Ranni laughed, a sound like distant chimes. "Indeed. And now it is our way, across the stars." Together, they turned their gaze upward, to the infinite cosmos that was now their domain. The Age of Stars had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of 2 worlds, one that would continue for 1,000 years and beyond. In the distance, a shooting star crossed the sky, a bridge between worlds, a promise of connections yet to be made, and adventures yet to come. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.